Super thin braided lines on spinning tackle have become a staple to achieve those ultimate control of a presentation for contemporary finesse techniques. And it doesn't matter if you're targeting bass, for trout, or for panfish, or even for light saltwater rockfish species. But 99% of people are spooling it wrong. Now you have probably seen a few of those tutorials telling you to use a piece of a wet rag to hold the braid against the rod while spooling to provide the tension. Please do not do that. A lot of people actually have love or hate feelings towards the super thin braided lines on spinning tackles because they run into problems such as wing knot or breakage or casting problems more frequently. Or actually, a lot of these problems begin when they are spooling the line onto their spinning reels. And there are a few nuances actually when putting super thin braided line onto spinning reels. If you're not aware of these, you can totally end up with a lot of trouble fishing with those lines. Now, how to properly spool super thin braided line onto spinning reels, and that's what we are going to talk about. Now, to spool up the super thin braid, I always mount my spinning reel on a light or no more than medium light spinning rod, and I will be using the full length of the rod, including every single guide when spooling. And the reason I will explain in a moment. And I also naturally always go with the shadow spool spinning reels when using these super thin braid. But even with these shadow spools, I will still need to use the mono backing to fill up the dead volume, because I never put more than 50 yards of super thin braid on my reel. To me, there is really not a single scenario that actually requires like 100 yards or 200 yards of those super thin braid. Now, before we do anything with the line, I always put on my nitrile gloves. Now, a lot of us fishermen actually have those so-called like bass thumbs, right? Where the thumb skin or the other index finger skin, for instance, are kind of dried up and then they peel up. So because we're dealing with those super thin braided line, those microfibers in the line are easily caught up by the dried up skin when you are tying knots and things. So I absolutely want nothing to do with those frayed up lines during the spool process. So that's why I want to wear these gloves to prevent it. Now, talking about the backing, people tie mono onto the spool and reel some backing, and then tie the backing mono with the braid. Now, I saw folks do this with super thin braid, and then it went out and make a cast, and before the lure even fly far, the lure just abruptly stops and hit the water. Now, sometimes the super thin braid will also frayed up as well. If this happens, then chances are you got screwed by the backing. What happens is, when you tie mono to spool and then mono to braid, you create two knots. Now, when you cut the tag off the knots, there will always be a very short knob left behind on the knot, right? So when monolines are as short as like 1 to 2 millimeters, they become really hard, relatively speaking. And then we all know the super thin braided line is also very soft, right? And also those microfibers, everything else. So if you have all of the tag residue sticking out under the inner layer of the line, the braid layer is very thin to begin with because we're not putting that much of the line on the spool anyways. So the mono knot will be easier to stick out than the super thin braid is very easily get caught by that tag end. That's the culprit for all these sudden stop during casting and creating a whole bunch of trouble. If you have these problems, the temporary remedy or solution is probably just to make a long cast, then peel off even more line, then just use a small piece of thin tape to cover the tag residue. But really, the best way to solve this problem is to do it right when spooling. So for the backing part, I will find the thinnest mono I could ever find to do the backing, such as a 6-pound or even less, the JDM 6-pound mono line. This way, the mono is soft to begin with, and then the tag end will also be softer. Then, when I cut off the tag end of the knot, I always use these clips. Now, this way, I can cut as close to the root of the knot as possible and almost leave no tag behind. I then will put backing on. Now, make sure the amount of backing is enough to completely cover the initial knot on the spool. Then the critical part is, I don't tie the backing mono to the braid. What I do here is just to pull the mono backing to the very bottom of the spool and hand wind it on, and then pull the tag down and under the line retainer outside of the spool, and then cut the tag, and we're done with backing. You want to leave about 2 millimeters of the tag outside the retainer. The key point is just to make sure the line leading toward the line retainer is actually sitting on the bottom of your spool. Now I'm doing this because I can completely eliminate the mono to braid knot, which is the more common culprit among the two knots for causing those casting problems. Let's be honest, 99% of the time we would never use the backing to fight the fish, right? So tying the braid directly onto the backing field on spool will only leave a tiny and soft knot made all by braid. Now, its tag is soft as well, right? So will not catch like the mono tag does. Now to tie the braid onto the spool, I first make a uni loop like this. Wrap a tag 5 to 6 times. Then tighten the small loop. And now you have a big loop. Then I will thread it through every single guide of the rod I'm going to throw the super thin braid on. Then open the bail, and then loop around the backing for 2 to 3 times. Cinch down. Now, if you pull the line, and you can see the spool is actually turning after the braid. When cutting the tag end off, some folks like to use lighter or plasma to fuse the tag. It's actually not good for this purpose here. The lighter or plasma will leave a melted PE endpoint on the tag end of the braid. That little melted dot is actually hard and can totally defeat the purpose of not having the mono knot tie to the braid. If you don't care about multiple refills out of one filler spool of braid to save some money, and you can just skip the backing part. Now for what we do in freshwater with super thin braided line can be tied directly onto the spool without slippage. Just use the same uni loop around the empty spool at least 6 to 7 times before cinching it down, then you're good. You can always check when the spool is pretty much empty and see if the spool will turn with you pulling the braided line. Now we can move to the actual spooling part. Now I built this little spooling station using dirt cheap material. All you need is 2 pieces of 1/4 inch plywood, a square block of wood, a stainless steel or aluminum rod, a couple spacers and a spring, and then a couple washers. The material cost is about $15 to $20. Mount it on a table with a clamp, and then stick the filler spool of your line onto the station's rod. Give it a little bit of tension by pushing the filler spool against the spring, and then tighten the spacer. Now at this point, I always pull out the Varivas PE conditioner and spray the braided line in the filler spool a few times. Now this water-based conditioner, after drying, will coat the braided line with a super smooth protective layer, which reduces friction, improves casting distance, and extends the service life of the braided line. By spraying the line right before the spooling, I'm actually using the spray as a lubricant, and when line goes through the line guides, the wet spray goes spread out much better around the entire length, giving an evenly distributed coating. Now we can actually spool it. By the way, I always like to have the spool installed this direction. For a thin braided line, because there is essentially no memory in the line, the direction is less of an importance. Now, the first couple cranks, you might still want to hold the line with your finger while holding the rod to give it some tension to spool up. Once you don't have any slack between your rod and the filler spool, you can just go ahead and turn the handle. If you adjust the tension of the filler spool right, your rod will keep slightly bent during the entire process.
As you are cranking the handle, count how many turns you cranked to guesstimate the length of line you put on. And when you are about 1 mm or 1/24 inch away from the inner tip of the spool lip, you are good. This amount of line will provide the best casting distance and handling performance.
Now you have probably seen a few of those tutorials telling you to use a piece of a wet rag to hold the braid against the rod while spooling to provide the tension. Please do not do that, especially to the super thin braid. Now those methods might work with mono, with fluorocarbon, or even with a thick braid, but it is essentially rubbing and abrading the braid to provide the tension needed for a tightly filled spool. Now after you are done, you can always see some color off on the rag. That is not just the color of the line. If you apply too much squeeze, you could very likely end up damaging the brand new super thin braid. By using this device, the tension is applied only on the filler spool, and the line is going through the actual rod guides exactly the same way they're designed to fish. The friction of the guides are usually minimal, plus this Varivas PE conditioner. Now your super thin braided line now have full protection this way when being spooled. Now if you don't like to spend the time to build the spooler by yourself, then there are actually a variety of options from basic to fancy, all available on Tackle Warehouse website. The links are posted in the description, and you can use these links to support this channel. And there's no extra fees for you, and I'll just receive a small commission from the Tackle Warehouse when you purchase through these links. So I really appreciate it. Now I know a lot of tutorials actually show you using only the first guide of the rod when spooling up. But I like to always use the full rod length, including the tip, because this way you can always feel the right amount of tension and also will be able to easily maintain the tension during the entire process. And by the way, I also like to set the drag to only about 1 to 2 pounds, no more than 2 pounds. Now this is to prevent the reel from damaging during the spooling process in case I set the filler spool tension too high. Now the spooler device gives me a consistent tension through the entire spooling process. For super thin braided line, it is critical to have a tightly, evenly filled core spool of line. Now due to the super thin diameter and no stretch, if you have a loose spot in the core, your line might dig in upon a hook set or fish fight. Then next time when you cast, your line may just snap right there because of the digging, and then you see your lure flying off and never come back. A tightly filled spool will also eliminate the majority of wing knots, although wing knots have something to do with how you cast and close the bail as well. So to this end, this device is essential and way more consistent than the wet rag method.
After I'm done spooling, I always give the line another 2 sprays of the Varivas PE conditioner, since this line now was on the bottom in the filler spool and may not have been soaked by the conditioner. I'm using a very small reel here, so I got some overspray, but don't worry, it actually protects the reel and will reduce the friction of the spool lip as well. So just spread it out evenly, and here again, wearing nitrile gloves helps.
Now, simply leave it overnight to let the PE conditioner completely dry out and form that protective coating layer. Now you have a reel full of properly spooled super thin braid, with coating intact, no potential damage, and free of hidden snags inside the spool. And you can confidently make long casts and no need to worry whether your next cast will be hearted cold mid-flight. Now if you have yet to try the super thin braid, I highly recommend you give it a shot. I actually start from number 0.8 just to get some feeling and build some confidence, and then go from there. Now as long as you follow the steps and tips in today's video, you will be enjoying the superb performance of the super thin braid without any trouble. If you'd like to see more content like today, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now with that, tight lines, and I'll see you in the next one.